Welcome to another edition of On the Marquee. I am your host, John Ballantyne, and I want to thank our sponsors for this edition, Joe and Terry Malis and the Photo Place in Austintown. Our guest today is probably the busiest, or at least one of the busiest people at the Playhouse. He is currently the technical director and shows up on stage from time to time, and in addition, directs shows. And I am talking, of course, about John Pecano. John, welcome.
How you doing, Chuck?
Good to see you.
Thank you.
What brought you here first? How did you get here initially?
Honestly, there was an audition notice for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And I was debating it. I had been doing shows in Newcastle for a while. It's one of my favorite shows, books, movies. But, I was scared coming over here into a new place where I didn't know anybody. And John Holt at the time was working for Bentley, I think, at that time. I don't think he was running the place. And he's like, come on, man, just go. I was still wishy-washy, and another girl in Newcastle was like, we're going. She literally picked me up at my house, drove me here, and I walked in not knowing anybody, went in to audition for Joe Scarvell. I was shaking like a leaf.
I was a scary director.
Right, and I had heard the reputation a little bit, and I didn't know anybody. I'm a shy person, honestly. So I remember looking at the script just like this, reading for Joe, and sitting down in the back in the corner and just waiting, and that was it. I was cast in the role of Billy Bibbit, which is what I wanted, and I really haven't left since, Jack.
Okay. As I mentioned in the intro, you're one of the rare tech people that sometimes acts, because not a lot of tech people do it, either because they don't have time or they just want to stay on the other side. What prompts you to audition for a role? What do you look for?
Now, it's like you said, it's kind of winding down. Now I tend to, if it's maybe a director I really want to work with on a script that I really like, I'll audition for it. When I was younger, I just do shows to do shows, hang out with the people, meet new people, etc. Now it's kind of, because time is so precious, and if I'm in a show, it means I'm here for 12 hours a day sometimes plus, and it's just very hard. So now I'm very selective. It's got to be a good role with a director I know and trust, so he's not going to waste my time. He or she's not going to waste my time, and that's kind of how I pick the acting side now. But I still enjoy doing the technical side with everybody else. So.
Well, you've you've designed a lot of sets since you came on board as technical director. Which ones of those are your favorites, and did you find most rewarding?
Well, I generally have help. I won't take credit for designing much of anything by myself. Usually bounce a couple ideas off the director or somebody who's working with me at the time. I think the really cool sets we did, the Elephant Man was something totally new for me. We built a 20-foot revolve, and just figuring that out was quite interesting. Oh, yeah. And thank God for YouTube now, because I couldn't have figured that out without watching about 20 different videos of how people do it. That was cool. I think August Osage County set was really sleek. It said something. It was a part of the show. I felt like it was a character. Exactly, yeah. And it had to be for that script. I'm very proud of that one. And that was, Maz and I both kind of working together, talking about what we wanted. Noises Off was a really cool set, and again, that was me, Mazurowski, just kind of sitting. Well, let's do this. We kind of made that one up as it went. We knew what we had to get to, but. So I enjoy the collaboration, honestly, more than sitting there trying to design something by myself. That's nerve-wracking. Oh, it is. Yeah. Because it's like, are they going to like it? So I enjoy the collaborative aspect of it.
Okay, now what went through your mind the day after Lybarger left, and you found yourself all of a sudden, the next show was your total responsibility?
Right. We honestly, and I love Jimmy dearly. I never held it against him. I can totally understand why he just disappeared sometimes, and we really didn't know. There was kind of a limbo area there. It's like, well, Jimmy's not here today. Have you seen Jimmy? I didn't talk to Jim. And that kind of went on for about a week. And then we get something wrong. Is he in the hospital? So finally it was, nobody could get a hold of him. So they were like, well, Johnny, I guess it's yours. And yeah, that was sheer panic. Sheer, utter
Deer in the headlights.
Yeah, it's because I've been a helper my whole technical career, and I worked with some amazing people. The Hannas, Mo Ferguson. I mean, Jack's an engineer. Mo has a photographic memory and can build anything. And so now Jimmy, just talk about somebody who can walk into a building, pick a few things, and make a set out of it. That's Jimmy Lybarger. It's a talent, and you have to learn that over many years, I think, and you can't, because we're our limited budget, we can't always build new things. So, but yeah, I was very panicked, and Bernie went easy that year as far as shows. He tried to do shows with smaller sets or minimal sets, and to kind of keep me sane, somewhat sane, and so it worked. But yeah, it was very scary. Still is very scary.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the set obviously being a major part of the show. You are an integral part of the design process,
right?
And to have that dropped on you out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was something. And I miss Jimmy. I still wander around up there like, what would Jimmy do? Like, how would Jimmy do this? I mean, it's a saying. Me and Matt White say all the time, what would Lybarger do? And every once in a while, it's usually a tech week, I have a Jimmy dream.
Oh, do you really?
Oh, I can almost count on one per run. And it's usually just Jimmy wandering in and like fixing something and doing his hey-ho, and then he just like walks off, and it's almost always something like that. And I had one a couple weeks ago, and I'm not even working on a show. It was just a Jimmy dream.
That's funny. That's funny. Now, when an audience member comes in and sits down, curtain opens, sits there, most people have no concept what goes in to getting that set on stage for opening night. Can you kind of just give us an overview of what the design process involves?
Like I said earlier, I mean, a lot of it's communicating with the director. Usually the more input a director has, the better. Sometimes they like to start changing things. Tech week, that's a problem. So you'll sit down with the director, the production team, even the light designer comes in, and talk about the overall goal, the overall look. And you start drawing things out, showing the drawings to the director. If they like it, maybe you'll tape the stage out to where the platforms will be and where the actors can walk. And that's always fun, because some actors you just walk through a wall, that's a solid tape line. They got to see it. Some directors have to see it. I've had directors love a design on paper, you build it, and they're like, oh, that's not at all going to work. And there's some really good directors do that, but I think it's a visual thing with some people. And then as you go on, you're building, you're adding actors onto it as you can. And then, as the show approaches, you're doing the finish work, painting, little details. There have been shows, Jack, honest to God, there was a show a couple seasons ago. They were giving the green room speech before the show, about 15 minutes to curtain. I was still painting stuff up above. I mean, I'm like, okay, well, it's out. Nobody can touch this wet paint. So there was definitely wet paint on that set when the curtain went up, as the myth says. So yeah, it's rewarding though. And then after it's done and you sit and watch it, I mean, yeah, you sit there with a critical eye and say, that didn't come out right, or but if it's a good set like August or even Alpha Man or whatever, it's a sense of accomplishment that it all came together, usually within the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. And I imagine at some point, at least with some sets, you kind of really hate to tear it down.
Sometimes I got over that. To me, it's like there's always going to be a new set, especially, it's like, okay, that was really cool. I liked it. It's that piece here, where we reuse a lot of stuff. It's like someday I'll see you in another set. And it's kind of like it lives on, So,
Now, you've been involved with the youth theater off and on for, almost for the whole time you've been here.
Yeah.
What do you feel that kids get out of doing live theater?
I think it depends on the kid, honestly. Some kids, you can tell their parents made them come. Other kids, they're really into it. I think it becomes, just a new creative outlet where they can come and just be, be crazy or be a different person, or it's that imagination thing everybody has as a kid, I think. And I think once they realize that, whoa, I can be here, and if I act like a fool, we'll say, in character or something, nobody's going to yell at me, or you know what I mean, and it gives them that release. And I think that's super important for a kid to find their place or find some outlet for art. And maybe at school, you know, the art's being cut in school, they don't maybe have that. And I think it's a really important purpose we serve, just to give them that outlet. Some do shows while they're in school and then they go away and they maybe never do a show again. Some come back for their whole lives. I mean, and it's a great thing to see. But even if they don't come back, we gave them that outlet. We gave them that release, just to be creative and think outside the box. And
I think all kids are good at the let's pretend thing.
Right.
Kind of feeds into that.
Right. Oh, totally. I mean, there's a kid that came through our youth show, big personality since he was a little kid, and now he has a scholarship at Steppenwolf. I mean, he's huge into it, and it's like, wow, we kind of played a part in that a little bit and gave him that outlet. And he was here helping set up for an event, and it's like, I feel like I'm home. I mean, he's been in college for years. You know, he hasn't been here in years. It's like, this is my home. Like, this is where it all came out of me, and I realized, oh, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, potentially. So it's nice. That makes you feel good.
Well, I think it gives a lot of kids direction, even if it's not into theater. It's direction in life, maybe where they want to go, or gives them confidence too, I think.
Right. Speaking in front of people, taking direction from a director. Yeah, there's so many life skills you gain from theater that you don't have to use on a stage. You know, public speaking, anything. Just confidence in yourself. That's a big thing for me. I tend to be hard on myself, and if your peers are all saying, "Oh, good job," and they're sincere, it makes you feel good. So, yeah, I think it helps kids a lot.
Mm-hmm. You were very close with Joe Scarvell.
Yes.
How did all that happen, and what did he exactly do for you during the times that you worked with him?
I mean, like I said earlier, I met him on Cuckoo's Nest. We just got along. Joe has his reputation of being hard on people and pushing people, not in a bad sense, but it pushes you. And we always just sort of clicked. I don't know what it was. I try to be a people pleaser, so I was always trying to listen to what Joe said, do what Joe said. As an actor, the director's God. If you want me to do this, I'll do this. So maybe that was part of it. And then over the years, we just worked on show after several shows together. And we always just got along. I got to meet Joanne. We got along well. We just grew close. He literally became like a grandfather to me. I was extremely close to my grandfather. He died when I was 7, so there was a big gap where I didn't have a grandfather. And I met him again when I auditioned for Cuckoo's Nest. I can't explain it other than that. And eventually, we became family friends, Candy and I, and we house sat for them whenever they went to Europe, because they were big world travelers. They trusted us with their house and their pets, and we became more family than anything. And yeah, just from walking in off the street and auditioning for the guy, I gained a grandpa. That's the magic of the Playhouse, right there. I mean, to me, people, what's your favorite thing about theater, the Playhouse? It's the people. Without the people, we're nothing, and it's all the different walks of life that come together. From teachers to lawyers to housewife to kids, and you all come together for this common purpose to do a show, and that's the magic right there, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I need to take a quick break here and thank our sponsors again, Joe and Terry Malis and the Photo Place. Now, besides Joe Scarvell, were there any other people that kind of helped you along the way and that you kind of mentored from?
Matthew Mazurowski, more recently. I think he's definitely a creative. He's an actor's director. He has such a soothing way about him as a director.
He does.
Yet he pushes you, but it's not like that push.
Right.
It's just like, I don't know, something about his technique has really clicked with me. And then I've learned a lot from what I'd say peers, like John Cox, David O'Hatton, Candy, who's brilliant, Stephanie Holt, John Holt as a director and a fellow actor, and David Gendry. get to work with David as much as I would have liked to. I never got to be on stage with David, but knowing his reputation, knowing he's a professional, at first I was intimidated. My first big thing I did for David was the sound for 39 Steps, which was the biggest show I'd ever edited together. I think there were like 300 and some sound cues. I had to get a whole different program to run sound that we'd never used here before just to do them the way they needed to be done. And I was so scared, Tech Sunday coming in with these sound cues because of David's reputation. And then David kept saying the whole rehearsal process, well, once we add the sound effects, it's all gonna come together. So I'm like, oh my God. And I was sort of intimidated by David's reputation. I didn't know him very well at the time. I start playing the cues, and I'm watching him. I'm like, oh God, is every one of these 300 cues going to be wrong? You know, I'm thinking the words. I'm like, how am I going? And he was just like, well, you know, he couldn't have been more complimentary. And I'm like, coming from David Gendry, that was like, oh, he's happy. Like so that boosted my confidence in that area of theater, and like maybe I'm not bad at that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, you know, and just coming from somebody with that, you know, esteem, it really...
That's a big help. That can give you a real strong confidence that lasts. It's not a momentary thing.
Exactly, fully. So yeah, there's been a ton. I mean, I try to learn from every single experience I have in theater. Sometimes you're learning what not to do, but that's still learning. And I think I can, you know, I've been influenced by little kids. To, you know, 90-year-old adults. So, yeah, part of the magic, I guess.
It is. The Playhouse has been through many different things. They've had their ups, their downs, and over 97 years, any organization is going to do that. What do you think keeps the Playhouse coming back year after all the problems they've been in and out of?
It's the people. It's the artists. They need that outlet. This area is just, it's such an artful area for the size of it. I mean, theater, music, anything, you know, we have art museums. And I think, I don't know if it's a Rust Belt thing where the downtrodden turn to the arts. You know, that kind of happens across the country, I think. But yeah, if we didn't have actors, we wouldn't have shows. If we didn't have patrons, we wouldn't have, you know, money to do shows. But they want the art as much as the actors want the art. The actors come together, you know, whether it's to be a star or just to hang out with people. You know, without them, we're nothing. And I think the talent pool is big, so it pushes you to be better. It's not like, oh, there's only 10 people that ever do shows, so maybe they're... I think having a lot of talent in the area, it makes people strive to be better, so the quality of the shows is better, so more people come to see the shows. You know, there's directors with people just come to see that director because they know that's going to be a good show. I've had them say it outside to me. So yeah, the community coming together to put on the shows, I think that's the life's blood.
We have a lot of fun with this next question. Everybody who's done any kind of theater for any length of time has great stories about something happened backstage, on stage, during some process in the production. Does anything come to mind that you can think of?
Oh man, there's been a million. My biggest one, and it kind of changed my theatrical life, didn't happen here, but it was a very, very fast set change at a high school that I was working on, and it was a split set that Dolly Levi had to walk through for curtain call. So during the change, basically we set up pulleys on this set to pull it apart, and she walked through. There were people on the set while it's happening, and I'm under the set. I'm going to link the thing, and it was off. I mean, there was about a foot where the cables wouldn't meet. So we had headsets, and I headset over to Jack Hanna, who I mentioned earlier, and I'm like, Jack, get me a chain with a quick link, something. So, you know, the scene's going on. I mean, we had, you know, seconds or counting down. He finds a chain with a quick link. He slides it across the stage to me under the set. I catch it. It was like a movie, Jack. I literally linked it in the set, pulled it apart. And I was like, that was more of a rush than I've ever had on stage as an actor. it was just like, oh, and it worked. And I'm like, wow, technical theater is really cool. I mean, literally, because I was young, you know, I was probably 20. I had just gone back to my high school to help out. And yeah, that was like, wow, that's a rush. And here, there's been, people missing cues. People, we had to have Joe Scarvell handlers for a few shows.
Yeah, I can believe that.
That would just follow Joe around. Joe, go on stage. And another show that it was a Playhouse production, I think it was considered, but we did it at Stambaugh, our town. And there was a cast member that he was no longer in the show as of right before the show happened. And Joe was teaching a class at like Penn State Shenango or something, and Joe was the director of the show. So he's like, I'll be there, I'll do the part. Oh God. I mean, I'm standing stage left at Stambaugh, and I'm at that scene's coming up. Joe walks in, doesn't even break stride. He walks in the back door, takes off his coat, sets it down, and just walks right out on stage for that. But it's Joe, so he didn't know like the lines. So it was the graveyard scene in our town, and he's like, tell me about that guy. And he just kind of ad-libbed his way. But it worked.
It worked.
And it was, wow, just a full confidence. Just walked right off the street onto the stage, did the thing, and went back to teach the next class, I think. And that was, oh boy, that's a fun story. Sweeney Todd pie shop stories of developing the chute that they go down, and I was the test dummy. So and then one time we had guest people go down the chute. Glenn Stevens, he's a very, very tall man.
He is.
Very broad, he's a big guy. Well, poor Glenn went down the chute, and I think you couldn't maybe see it from the audience. I mean, part of his head was still sticking up. He didn't, because they landed on like a little platform in there, and he was practically wedged in it, and just getting him off the table inside the pie shop, that was a fun experience. Sitting behind the pie shop, the whole show spinning it with Doreen White. We had a sheet counterclockwise, quarter turn. We would, just the mapping out of that was a fun, cool tech experience.
People have no idea.
The things that happen, they really don't.
No.
And that's part of what makes live theater fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, this kind of ties in with that, because you've spent a lot of time here by yourself. Mm-hmm. Have you ever had a run-in with the Playhouse ghost?
No, and I'm really disappointed in that. Not Newcastle, I have. Here, no, never. I think maybe part of it is because I've, like you said, been here a lot, and I know all the weird noises in the building, and I can kind of explain them mostly. No, I've never had a run-in with the ghost. I mean, ghost, if you're listening,
Well, that's interesting, because I asked John Holt that too. And as many nights as he spent here by himself, he said he never did either.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting, because you think the more time you spend here, the more possible you did. You saw one.
NCP, I will swear on a Bible that yes, there's a ghost at the Newcastle Playhouse. But no, I never. There was like a seance here at the bar once. It was a funny story. And the woman was standing right at the bar, and she's saying, I'm sensing people lining up. And it's like, but yeah, you're at the bar. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, obviously people line up here. Like, it was like, no, there's no ghost.
Now, we're nearing the 100th, obviously. By the time people see this, it'll be closer to the 100th. What do you feel the Playhouse needs to do to be successful as they near that point and launch into the next years beyond that?
I think the quality of show has to stay high, to bring good audiences in. I think it's important. The most important thing is getting youth involved, or younger people, not just 20s, 30s, because I think there's a real drop-off of interest in theater in general. And I tell some of my favorite, I call them kids, but they're in their 20s. This is your theater now. This is you. You're the next generation. You're the lifeblood of this place. You're what's going to let it go on. So I think part of that's maybe doing shows that younger people are interested in, newer shows. I mean, there's still a place for the old chestnuts. We've got to do those too. But we've also got to push forward and just get a younger audience in here, because the more you get in here who are young, then they continue the legacy. I mean, that's how you continue a legacy. If we're just doing stuff that older people like, then they're never going to come, and then it's going to drop off when the older people are gone. Right. So yeah, younger people in the shows, or shows that are more geared to younger people, and then somehow getting younger people into the theater to watch the shows. Maybe school outreach, working with, bringing shows to schools, just getting them involved in the arts, doing workshops. I think that's fostering the youth is really, I think, how we're going to survive another 100 years. Got to get them interested. And maybe trying different things, maybe do some open mic nights, or just try different things, experiment a little bit, see what takes off and what gets more people in here.
And I think that's what's helped get it this far. Because if you look at the history of the Playhouse and all the things they've done over the years, they tried something over here and it worked for a while, and then they tried something else over here. And I think that kind of helps bring audience in, because it's not just the same thing all the time. It's something new every now and then. Yeah.
That's how you do it,
Well, John, I thank you for coming in. Our time is up, and we'll be seeing you again soon.
Thank you, Jack.
Okay,
nice
thank you.
Here.
And thank you for joining us for On the Marquee, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.